Hello, is that Miss Nikkie Stones?
Yes, it is. How are you,
Oh,
Tanya?
fabulous. Glad to finally get talking to you in person, and thank you for taking the time to have a wee chat with me.
No problem at all. Thank you for asking me.
So, Nikki, I think I'm really curious to know how did you get started in drag? Because I came across you and I recognized you as a pretty new face.
Yeah, I am a pretty new face in the drag scene. Like, I've only recently just turned 18. I only turned 18 in January.
Oh,
And my stage debut was December in Zanto Panto. And before then, I was staying under the radar. I didn't really do much. I spent 2 years in bedroom drag, not doing anything. But I I kind of just embraced Santo Panto, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be where I'm going to start. This is how I'm going to get out into the scene. And then,
okay.
yeah,
So, I was one night I was in my house and I was just scouting about, just looking for all these new drag talents, and I actually came across you by chance, and then I sent you a wee PM, and I was like, "Do you do drag?" And you're like, "Yes," and I was like, "Oh my god, you have to go for Up Frocks."
yeah, I had been looking at it, but then I didn't realize that it was that the thing was in November because I'm in my final year in school, so I have exams in June. So I thought that I would be I thought that it would clash with that, and I was panicking, and I was like, I really want to do it.
Sure, sure,
Yeah,
and
but then you told me that it was November. I was like, yes, I have to do this.
yes, and it's the final year, so you got to get in there. So, I guess I really want to ask you, what made you get into drag? You said you're 18. Sure, age is nothing. I know RuPaul's Drag Race this season, they only have a drag queen that's been doing drag about 8 months, is it?
Yeah, Valentina.
Yeah. So, it doesn't matter how long you're doing it, it's how well you do it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I my kind of drag story comes from it's a bit of a dark place. Like there was this period in time where I just hated. I was going through I was very low. I was going through depression, and drag kind of gave me the opportunity to be a different person for a while, and it was just the feeling of being able to put on hair, put on this makeup, put on this outfit, and be this really really confident, outgoing person who I wasn't at the time. It really that's kind of why I started, and then it just kind of branched out from that. I was like, I can actually do something with this.
I know. I can sort of relate to that. There was periods in my past life where I found drag was a happy escape to
Yeah.
be somebody more colourful than I thought I was myself. So, yeah, sort of see what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's it's definitely people say, "Oh, drag has saved my life." Like that's not an understatement. It definitely has for me.
Oh, okay. And then, so what do you think of the Dublin girls? Do you have any? But you've obviously had a wee look at all of them and assessed them in your own time. Have you got like a, not so much a favorite, but one you sort of look up to, or
Um, Definitely Regina George. I
yeah?
think she is one of the most amazing performers I've ever seen on stage. Her makeup is 100% realized, and she's such a nice person to talk to that inadvertently I've kind of looked at her as inspiration, and kind of my style, since seeing her, my style has definitely changed a little bit to kind of almost mirror her. Like, hopefully I'm not copying her, but you know what I mean, really.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you think about it this summer? I know Paul Ryder's going to be looking for talent. Is it something you've given thought?
Oh, definitely. Like, if it's not clashing with exams, I'm gonna enter straight. Like, definitely
Sure.
wouldn't pass up the opportunity.
And then, so what sort of style would you say Nikki Stones is, or how did Nikki Stones come about? Why did you pick that name? Is there a reason behind it?
Um, Stones. It's kind of like homage to my hometown. Because Stones is in my hometown name, and there's Nikki is kind of. I've always loved the name Nicole, but I didn't think it was really kind of
Draggy.
fierce enough for
Yeah,
drag.
yeah.
Like, no offense to anyone named Nicole, but yeah, I just didn't really feel like it suited my drag persona, so I was like, Nikki, it's short, it's to the point. I love that name, so I'm gonna go with it.
Sure, sure. And then, what sort of style would you say Nikki is? Is she, is she comedy? Is she emo? Is what sort of character do you sort of want to portray?
I definitely call her more fashion queen, like fashion and performer. Like, um, when like I will like I'm a seamstress or seamster or whatever
Ah,
the male
brilliant.
version is. So I've grown up with like the fashion. So I will always like I've got stuff which I've made. I have this one dress from an Irish designer which I love to bits, and I will wear it at any chance that I get. And um, just from that, I'd like to think that I definitely am a fashion queen, even with the fact that I've got some vintage stuff, and then I've got the whole futuristic look as well. So
Cool, cool. And I've seen your, I think it's your current profile picture. I just love that whole look. It's so modern and it's fresh. It's a really nice sort of look you've got going on. Um,
thank you.
so I guess obviously there's going to be girls and boys listening from the Dublin scene and the Belfast scene. What do you
Hmm.
think they would like to learn about Nikki that they might not know?
That I don't know. I'd probably like for people who aren't drag queens or aren't like really familiar with the scene at all. I just want them to know that Nikki's still a human. She's not like this crazy evil person who's going to eat them. Which like that's one of the first things that I thought about drag queens. I was like, I'm so scared to talk to them because they're probably going to eat me. But that and the fact that I may come across super bitchy and like catty, but that's really not who I am. I'm quite subdued. I'm quite like I like to think that I'm quite a friendly person, though I do say things that are a bit stupid. They don't like I don't mean them in a hateful way.
Yeah, and yeah, sure, we all get stigmas attached to us, and it's once you do get that sort of stigma that you're a bitchy queen, or
Yeah.
it's hard to shake it, but it shouldn't define who you are. And if you do get a stigma like that, play with it and
Yeah.
work with it and own it.
Yeah, because it's like you can't what's the word? You can't make another first impression on someone, but
Sure.
you can change their entire outlook on you.
Sure. And then obviously as we know you've went in for Opportunity Frocks this year.
Hmm.
Um, if the committee was sitting listening now, and they have to whittle their contestants from 28 down to say about 10 or 12, why would they pick Nikki over the majority of the rest?
Well, I'm different. Like, and I'm not just saying that like, oh, I'm different. I wear a different hair color than everyone else. No, like I'm different. I've grown up in the performance art. I've done musical theater. I've grown up singing. I've done dancing. I'm like my look is also fully realized. I know exactly who I am. I'm open to growth, but I don't have to grow as much as some of like I don't have to grow from like the whole level of not covering my brows up to like having brows up to my forehead. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, and like my influences, while they are like they extend past the realms of drag. Like I'm influenced from burlesque, which means like I'll be able to bring a whole new look to the whole drag scene, and I'll be able to just show a different side
Like
to what
the
drag can
sort of
be.
vintage, sort of cabaret sort of style.
Yeah, definitely. Like I wouldn't be anywhere without my two sisters, Nikki and Santina, who are well, Nikki's an ex burlesque dancer, and Santina Spitfire is currently dancing. And like they are, if it wasn't for those two, I wouldn't like Nikki wouldn't be here.
And where for people that aren't familiar, where is Zanto Panto?
That will be in Outhouse on Capel Street,
Oh, okay.
which yeah, it's kind of just past Panty Bar.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
What's the best thing that drag has enabled you to do?
Ah. Oh. Um. I think one thing. I've been on the Belfast scene for 11 years now. One thing that drag has enabled me to do is to meet so many people because I know when I wasn't that well known as a drag queen, nobody would have spoke to
Hmm.
me as a guy. But because my drag developed and obviously I got more known and known over the years, people
Hmm.
would talk to me now more now because I'm a known drag figure. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I probably
yeah,
wouldn't have
100.
met half the people I've met if it wasn't for drag.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely get you. Definitely get you. Yeah. And final question, I'm
Yay.
going to take advantage of this.
Of course.
Out of the current queens or queens and king who've applied for Op Frocks this year, who would be your top three? And don't
Okay.
feel pressured to say me just because you're on the
No,
panel.
no. Obviously I've had a good nosy, and I hope I don't forget any. So there's 28 in for it. One I would like to see for specific reason is the look alone is Saren.
Yeah,
Um,
she's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's just I would just love to see what sort of style and performance Sarah would do. Another one really would be Dylan Jordan. Um,
Yeah,
I know he's done a wee bit, around the scene in Dublin, and I would like to see a bit more from him. And of course, I would like to see yourself because I'm sitting talking to you. But
hmm,
I think the Drag King. I would like to see what
yeah, Victor.
because I think there's a big gap for Drag King talent.
Yeah,
Um, we in Belfast we just don't have that. We don't have drag king performers, so I
hmm.
think there's room for that. Next week on Tea with Nikkie Stones. So Nikki, if we could just ask one more, what do you see you doing in the next 5 years? Where would you like to be in the next? If you had to make an action plan, where would you be from now to 5 years time?
Like, I want to be known on the scene as a regular performer, someone who will turn out a crowd, someone who will be able to get a number or get just any song and be able to turn it out into something like Angelina Lovelace. She does that.
Oh, she's
She can just
beaut.
take any song and turn it out completely. I want to be exactly like that.
Yeah, yeah, and like I suppose, nowadays with the technology, like drag queens don't even have to leave their house to make themselves popular or well known. There's YouTube tutorials. There's
Yeah,
YouTube. You could have fun with all sorts if that would be your sort of thing. Especially, I don't think you're from Dublin, are you? You're outside. You're
yeah. I'm North Wicklow, so
Yeah, yeah. So for you, maybe not being able to travel to Dublin so much. There's so much you could do with like YouTube and stuff.
yeah. Yeah,
So
it's definitely a platform for like even with queens such as oh I've forgotten her name. Like she's known in her little scene, but no one really knew her, and then all of a sudden she got YouTube and went viral.
sure, sure. And that's the glory of it now. Like even me doing this, like, I'm sitting in my house most days talking away to all sorts of talents, and I don't even have to leave the house.
Yeah, like
So
it's great now.
yeah, so many opportunities. So well, Nikki, I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'm really excited. I'm sure a lot of people listening as well are going to be excited what has to come for Nikki Stones in the years to come.
Hmm.
So I want to say thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for asking me to do this.
No bother. It's a pleasure, honey, and look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. Bring on Opportunity Frocks with
Let's
Nikki.
go. Let's go. Let's do it. Thank you very much, honey.
Thanks,
Okay,
Tanya. Bye.
bye.